Hey there, Matthew Hill. I'm honored to have you on the red couch today.
Oh, it's a fantastic to be here, Angie. When did we last meet? In Lille by that canal. All good stuff.
It's kind of funny because I was thinking about that today. I don't know, every time I meet you, I'm a little bit sick. Last time we met, I was sick afterwards. We were sitting there by the canal. We had this wonderful apéro, had a wonderful chat together in person. And then the next day I couldn't move my body anymore. So
And I think I
I
was
think, yeah,
I think I was a super spreader at that conference because I was just about to complain about my basil pizza and beer being tasteless, and then realized I've come down with the same thing.
yeah,
Not good, but good to see you anyway. We had a good evening.
it's not you, it's the virus.
Yes, exactly.
So, Matthew, tell me a fun fact about yourself.
Well, I tell you what, a fun fact is maybe stretching. Tomorrow we are going to central London to do our second gig, Susanna and myself, to do stand-up comedy.
Ah, you will be so amazing at that. I can see that.
Funny, funny. Very quick story.
Uh,
Susanna, monkey see, monkey do. A friend of hers went on a comedy course, which you can do in the UK. She signed up. The teacher was so bad that everyone dropped out. So they said, would anyone else like to step in? So I stepped in, not for the course, but for the performance, which was coming at the end. So
uh-huh.
Susanna had 7 weeks, a bit of coaching from me and an acting buddy, and did a fantastic job. I came in fairly raw and did some material and did it, and it was pretty good. So this is our second outing in Charing Cross Road, literally the centre of London, tomorrow evening.
Oh, that is so nice. If there is a video, anything, please send it to me. Then I will add it to the show notes of this conversation because I can see a whole new career ahead of you.
Exactly. We will rely on Mr. Go and Mr. Pro.
Awesome. So, to get into something a bit less serious, I have to say, if it wasn't for you, when I like actually got to know you in 2018, I would probably slave away in some corporate job right now because Matthew, you basically saved me from, having to go back into like a real job. Not that what I do is not a real job, but you were my inspiration and source sales coach. So you're an interculturalist as well. Tell us about your why.
Well, that's it. You just named it. You've just named it. That breakthrough is how I'd describe it. But you know what I mean. That was a sort of however you fit your story into breakthrough. Seeing some people who think they can't, pushing through until they know they can. So interculturally, from silly examples, a woman not wanting to drive in Sofia, Bulgaria, and then she does.
Uh-huh.
You sticking with it. I believed in you. I just told you what I saw, and you listened to that. Someone who says, I can't, I can't, I can't, I've got to present in front of 20 people, and then they can, and they get applause or they get credit afterwards. Or in mediation. I mean, I'm mainly intercultural and presenting, but when a little old lady gets justice, that is just beautiful. That is beautiful. So people finding their voice, continuing with their efforts, continuing where their essence takes them. And then for me, I learn a lot. I learn as much from other people as I do as they do from me.
I have to ask you something which is completely off the questions that I usually ask. Where did you learn to speak like that?
Very good. Took a while. I wouldn't. You can sign up to my course. I tell you, by the way, since you mentioned that, I've got the voice of an angel and the face for radio. When I did my first comedy, a
Yeah.
guy comes up to me who's a professional public speaker, and he said, Matthew, will you coach me on voice?
Hmm.
I sang in a choir,
Uh-huh.
and I always had a nice voice, but I have worked on it. So I've done some vocal coaching, and
Oh,
I used to lose my voice when I waffled on for a day. So I did singing lessons. as an adult, which is a strange thing to do, with a wonderful person, Rachel, who really was quite patient with me in the beginning. And then we also used to go out singing at Christmas time. So the voice thing it takes a bit of work, but when you get it, it's there. But I always say during COVID, there wasn't much you could work on, but you could work on your voice. There are plenty of vocal exercises. Everybody do now. There are plenty of things you can do. Find them on YouTube or hire me for €1,000 an hour, and you can improve the quality of your voice. Anyone can do it. I mean, you've got a nice voice, maybe a bit rough and ready today, but normally you've got a fantastic voice. Never marry someone with a squeaky voice. The marriage won't last.
I also took singing lessons.
Hey, there you go. There
Told
you
you. Probably never told you, but I'm a singer.
go. Okay, next time we meet, 2 glasses of wine and some
We should do
karaoke.
karaoke next time. Recently, I had a researcher, Heather de Cruz Conner. I don't know if you have come across her. I will send you the video, and she yodels at the end of the video.
I saw something about yodeling. Yes, yes, yes. Well, I do like a yodel. We're going to Austria this summer with the boys,
Yeah,
so I'll watch that video before I go.
yeah. I think that's, like intercultural training at its best. So, Matthew, I know, there's a lot more to say about you. You wrote a ton of books. You're a sales trainer. You're like a team coach, an intercultural trainer. You were, I think, head of CETA UK at some stage. So,
Just for 5.5 years.
been there, you've done that. You are excellent at teaching sales in a very short time frame. So tell us about your journey. How did you get to where you are today? From when you started to being in, where are you going? Covent Garden?
Covent Garden. Yes, 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 yes. No, yeah,
Covent
Charing Cross.
Garden.
No, no. I tell you what. You've just mentioned Covent Garden. That was my first job. So Covent Garden, Charing Cross is less than a mile. So I've come a mile in however many decades. My first job, dial telephone, selling advertising space.
Oh,
In those days, it was relatively easy. There were no gatekeepers, there was no voicemail. Everyone wasn't that busy, and you could speak to a managing director, make a script your own, and close a deal. And I had the record, 5 sales in a day, and that was never beaten. Then I got into headhunting, which was meeting very sophisticated people and pretending I knew what I was talking about. Then I joined a firm where the local offices, they were globalizing. The local offices got all the love and all the resources. So I had a choice to go from headquarters, which was a desert, to either India, Lebanon, or the Czech Republic. It was a fairly simple choice, and I ended up in Prague. There, I knew some people, and we had such a time. I was a bigger fish in a smaller pond. I met Margaret Thatcher. I met Václav Havel. I met all the Czech prime ministers. Very honest, all of them.
oh,
And it was all good. And I was the king of the roost. And I found myself. I found my voice. I found my selling. I was surprised when we didn't close the deal. I was surprised. And that was really good for me. I came back as a totally average person on the Northern Line Underground and thought, wow, I'm back as a civilian now. But that was fantastic. I thought I knew Czech culture, and I put a small ad, £100, €130 ad in HR Zone, and someone picked me up and said, can we have a 3-day training on Czech culture for an expatriating British couple from the north of England who just failed spectacularly in China? And that was the beginning. I did that. That was a success. That client took me all around Central Europe, so Ukraine and Russia and Poland and all sorts of places. And it really built from there. And then one of the people I was working with said, Matthew, you've got this leadership experience, which I got in Prague. I was head of the office there. Why not train leadership? So slowly it expanded to do anything and everything. The weirdest things I do, speed reading and memory, still consultative selling, but a lot of other things, confidence, influencing power, and presenting is what I landed on. So the majority of what I do now is presentation training for speaking the language of your audience, speaking the values of your audience, closing that deal, generating action. And it's great.
Awesome. Do you have some tips for our audience?
Network like a crazy person. ABC, always be chatting. Or if you're meeting for lunch, always be chewing.
Uh-huh.
You should, with the Czech thing, I left 4,000 great contacts on the table, two of which went on to be megastars. I'm in touch with one, I'm not in touch with the other. So never leave a contact behind. Listen, listen for values, paraphrase, and then just reframe from your own perspective. If they appreciate what you've just done, that is a solid base to continue.
Uh-huh.
Maintain your contacts, and you never know. Quick story. Relocation agency went through a merger. I was doing a bit of intercultural in London. There was a guy at the back, Michael, I didn't know him then, 12 years ago or 12 years before. I wrote a post, a blog. I put it on some blog site, WordPress. He liked it and we became connected. Didn't speak. 12 years later, he phoned me up and said, Matthew, we've got a bank that wants to globalize across Africa. We want to have you come for 2 weeks and train their directors. This is 12 years later. I made them laugh, made them cry in the room, bonded. They'd had the demonstration. I was still there. It was first class all the way. We had laughs, we cried, we did some amazing stuff. So yeah, or the Australian government phoned me up, literally phoned me up on my mobile phone because they saw my profile on LinkedIn.
Oh, yeah.
It's presence, it is conversations, it is listening. You might find a friend, you might learn something, you might help some people. Just keep on going and maintain those relationships.
I love it. As you know, I'm a big believer in professional relationship building and maintenance. And I don't even dare to call it networking anymore because networking has such a bad rep. And I love those instances when people remember you and they contact you like 10 years later and say something like, oh, you coached my wife, or
Yeah.
I worked with you and now I want to recommend this friend to you after 10 years. And I love these kind of, instances where people, really remember how you made them feel at the time.
Bingo.
And, they just stay in touch. So if we think about that, and especially right now in this AI driven internet that, where sometimes you wonder, is there any human out there, or am I, talking to a machine right now? What would you tell a younger person today? Like, for example, if they wanted to follow a similar path, let's say, they wanted to go into training, or they wanted to be in sales or do something similar to what you're doing, what would you advise them?
Well, I'll tell you what, I mean, it's slightly different there. For training, you do need to know something. So again, it's the same idea of meeting lots of people, but shut up and listen. Learn, learn, learn. And
Yeah,
we were talking about YouTube just before
yeah,
this thing, their new podcast channel, which I love. I love the
yeah.
idea of that. Everything is on YouTube. Consume more than, turn off the rubbish, get the proper learning, turn YouTube into university time for you and really know it. For sales, I just wrote a blog on that this week. Do the extra sentence. Start with adding an extra sentence to everybody you meet, which is really about engaging, listening, and probing. You don't think that's selling? That is selling. Selling is uncovering people's values so you can speak from then on in the language of their values. Afterwards, you might find a gap or a need, and it'll seem fairly natural. And if you've got something you can offer with integrity, then do, or even better, a referral which bypasses you financially and someone else. And that's called integrity. And that's a longer term selling relationship. And you can be 12 selling lemonade, you can be 18 in a bar, you can be whatever you like. So start with the behavior and the rest will follow.
Start with the behavior and the rest will follow. I will have to remember that and use it and pretend I came up with it.
Oh yeah, well, okay.
It's funny, like I'm taking notes as if I was in class with you.
There you go. Now, if you steal from one person, it's called plagiarism. If you steal from 100 people, it's called research.
Yeah. And if you steal from a coach that you worked with, then it's considered learning from the guru.
There we go. Yes.
It's not
Passing on the
stealing.
wisdom. Yes.
It's not stealing, especially not if you attribute it to the person you learned it from, which I
Okay, that's
usually
it.
do.
That seems like a subliminal message to your coachees, and I get it. I respect that. I respect
Yeah.
that. Very
Yeah,
good.
no, I
Very good.
would do that. I would say my sales coach, Matthew Hill, taught me this.
Very good. Very good. Very
Which
good.
is it's a different kind of referral, but it's also referral.
Well, I tell you what it is. It's a sort of reflected, borrowed authority.
Yeah.
I was in the presence of people talk about NLP, so I qualified in NLP from
Yeah.
the master, Richard Bandler.
Yeah, wow.
And I have never invented anything in the world of NLP, but I've listened hard and I've used it and I've benefited from it. But most people have learned not from Richard Bandler. I've learned from Richard Bandler. So I'm happy to give the guru all the credit he is due.
Uh-huh. Very good. Very good. For the people who do not know what NLP means, could you just
Yes.
quickly explain it?
You're saying 20 years ago, were you paying attention? Well, just about. There is a surface assumed reality held in language,
Hmm.
which actually relates to mediation. Let's do it for mediation. If I say I'm going to give you 1 million in compensation, that million has €1, Swiss francs, or pounds, or dollars. That million has one meaning for you. That million has a totally different meaning for me. So it's quite easy to see that. So for me, I give you compensation. I don't lose 10 million. I get on with my life. That is the meaning of the million. That is a fine. For you guys, it is an apology. It is emotional repair, and you get on with your lives. So one thing can have an utterly different interpretation by two parties.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that really is the essence of NLP. And that's why I say listen for values, listen for drivers. That is the importance of the thing for that person. From then on in, use their words their way, use their values, resonate with their values, and do so with integrity. I mean, they have to be relatively close to yours. Although, I mean, we're coming on to something else of debate. I quite like debating with polar opposites. That's quite fun. That's what I just did in Warsaw this weekend. But if you can speak that language, then you're going to bond, you're going to be closer. And most people are not having real conversations these days. There's no dialogue, there's no listening. We're all interrupting, we're emoting, we're hating, we're headlining only, we're fact free. And so just go a bit deeper. If you listen to someone for 20 minutes, paraphrase what you think their essence is. If you're spot on, great. If you're near, great. If you've missed it by a mile, great. And then maybe add, from my perspective, can I say something? And
Mm.
you've earned the right to give them some payback. Stephen Covey would say, you put enough pennies in the bank account to make a withdrawal, and
Mm.
then give them something. You are driven by. Am I close? And everyone loves it. Everyone loves it. We go to fortune tellers, we go to coaches. And what do we all want? It's our never-ending questions. Am I good enough? I never. Will people like me? Am I good enough? And then you're giving them that essence, which is something of a temporary solution to that never-ending question. It's nice. It's nice. It's nice.
Well, you spoke to something, but I am afraid I would spill too many coaching secrets if
Yeah.
I say this now. But I would just say one little thing about this, what you just described. It often happens to me in coaching that I feel something, it's like intuitive. But very often it's because I have been through a similar story. Yeah, so I'm just like maybe 5 years ahead of my client.
Yeah. Figure.
And then I can speak to that. And then they're sometimes very they look at me with like these open eyes, as if I was a fortune teller. But it actually works pretty well most of the time.
Very good. I mean, that pathway idea. Don't compare yourself with other people. They may be behind you, beside you, or ahead of you. It's your road. It's their road. It just happens to look the same. Don't worry
Yeah,
about it.
and
Yeah.
it's not always right, and you have to be careful, yeah, because you could go on the wrong tangent. So it's really, I think, what is said, it's really important that you first of all listen to the other person
Yeah.
and really understand what they're about before you make a comment or before you make a suggestion.
Totally.
But that's the thing, in coaching, we're trained to listen to people. We're doing that the whole time. So, then saying something is probably right because we listen to the cues
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
that come from the client. It's almost like we're mirroring something back to them.
Exactly. But the
Um,
one little trick I do, which is to counter that, to do a countermeasure. So I will do when I'm doing networking, I'll say, I'll go to a conference, I'll sit in the busiest area between two people,
uh-huh.
and it's just before the first speaker comes on, and I will say something. You will absolutely hate this, but this is what I do. So I turn to someone and go, "Are you excited?" And everyone goes, "Oh, I'd never do that." But it triggers them that I've gone plus 10 in terms of crazy. And then of course, well, what would you do? They're not going to go plus one, they're going to go plus four. So you are
Okay.
stretching the zone. You're stretching the zone. So I'm not getting the right answer for them. I'm
Uh,
going way beyond their comfort zone, but it does little stretch them from a plus one to a plus four, and
uh-huh.
they will try a little bit more.
Okay. Well, that's why I think you should be in stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
People will remember you for making them
Tragedy,
laugh.
truth, pain, and timing. All good.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, one more question. When a lot of the people that follow me are working in HR, global mobility, or are expats themselves. And based on your long-standing experience, do you think, we should integrate something in the education of global mobility managers, HR managers, that maybe, we're not seeing enough or doing enough right now?
I tell you what, everyone's had a fairly bad ride of it in terms of reputation.
Uh-huh.
We've had pro woke, triple woke, anti woke. We've had all sorts of stuff of how we've all come through COVID or not come through COVID and virtual working and all this sort of stuff. So I think a lot of people need a reset, and I advocate for this, which is starting again to rediscover your ethical and principled voice.
Uh-huh.
So why don't we start with this? Just teaching or just doing these exercises? I mean, often when you go into a corporate, you do a purpose exercise. It's
Yeah.
almost a personal purpose exercise or a functional. So mobility, functional, HR, function, a functional purpose. What is the outcome we're really, and not all the nonsense, not all the political agenda, and not all the, what was I asked to do recently? I was asked to give a storytelling training to people who are sacking staff.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you're polishing an axe to make it look pretty. That lacks ethics. That
Yes.
lacks. You get it? It's just that.
Doesn't
Where
make
are we
sense.
going with this? So, finding your ethical and principled voice, which again is going back and auditing your own values, purpose, worst mistakes plus learnings, greatest victories, greatest joys, and then having that voice. So, it's a voice, it's a brand, and then being consistent in a meeting, in emails, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you're saying the same thing about morality, what is right and wrong, and ethics, what we should be doing around here. Morality and ethics are slightly different things. And
Mm-hmm.
you can't go wrong. You can't go wrong. You can't go wrong. There will be incidents, and there's COVID or the 2008 crash or whatever it is, taxation or something else like that, or some disaster, or the market would disappear. I mean, AI might destroy doctoring, banking, lawyering, truck driving. So we've got to be fairly circumspect about things we cannot control. But I would say if you're tripling the number of people who are conscientious in what they say and why they say it, then it's going to be a better place and you're
Mm.
going to have better work and probably more profitable and exciting outcomes.
Yes, I agree with you. Um, Maybe it's not even the right question that I asked. You know, maybe we need to take a step back and look at, do we still need these functions in the future? And then it's more like, what do we want younger people to learn before they enter the workforce? What kind of
Totally,
values, what kind of values, what kind of mindset? How do we want them to, how do we want them to show up in the workplace, basically? And it
totally,
could be
totally, totally.
something very basic that, like you said, like listening skills, or, being empathetic, or understanding,
Yeah.
that humans need to be treated in a certain way in order to thrive. That could be interesting to look at in
And also, and go
education.
further than that, totally. We seem to have homogenous tribes, and there's nothing more dangerous than a homogenous tribe. So let's try a bit of heterodoxy, counter narrative, and challenge. What
Hmm.
I'm trying to do is to bring back a bit of debate and a bit of dialogue and to counter the measures which try to destroy debate,
Hmm.
interrupting, name calling, slogan shouting, emotional triggering, being offended, all this nonsense. We've got to get real. We have an enormous number of problems, and do you notice none of them are getting sorted out?
Well, because nobody's talking about it. Is that the
Nobody's talking
reason?
about it in a constructive way. A lot of shouting, a lot of polar to polar shouting. Now,
Hmm.
the weekend we were doing this, and we got really quite deep into some heavy issues. I won't shock the audience by talking about what we talked about, but that was amazing. Some people who were right in some very stressful, forever situations, and they could talk in an amazing, dispassionate way, and we actually got somewhere. And it's beautiful. If that was my magic wand gift, if everyone could take the next year to learn how to debate, we might get a shift in our, I don't know, optimism. You said this might happen.
This is for the editor.
Yes, yes, yes.
So, Matthew, have you got anything exciting coming up apart from stand-up comedy?
Apart from that, and there's maybe an offer for your people. You don't have to do this, but if you want to do it, you do it. I am adjusting some of my presentation material to include debate and dialogue. So I'm looking for just a couple of volunteers. So if someone listening to this is going to be on a panel, will be at a conference speaking about something slightly more controversial, one of the hotter or more dangerous topics, then I've got some techniques which I'm trialing with various people. It was in Poland last weekend, and it'll be various other places, CETA and so forth. So if they want to do that, then what I'm trying to build again is a sort of credible base of people who've been through this debating and dialogue idea, and then we're going to follow their progress. So that's something as a new piece of work. I've been doing it for about a year. The Socratic method is what it's based on, and we've had such good fun with it. We've had such good fun. We create courage. We create debate where there was just shouting before. So if someone wants to join in on that, so that's my pet project at the moment.
And when are you starting with that?
Now I've done 5 sessions, webinar and face to face. I'm now starting with a coaching phase. So I'm looking for guinea pigs for trialists to join my coaching programs. Just one to one, couple of sessions. No money exchanges hands, so it's quite easy to do. But real people who've got some responsible jobs, so it'd be quite fun to do. So I offer that out as an idea.
That sounds good. And how can people get in touch with you through LinkedIn, or what's your favorite?
LinkedIn's good. I think I sent you the link in.
Yep.
Send me an email. It's all good, and then we just see how we go. Have a quick WhatsApp conversation. If it works, and we can do it. All good fun.
Okay, so anyone who wants to learn more about debating could
Yes, they've got it. They've got
participate.
a conversation coming up. They want to learn about debate or presentation skills.
Okay,
Give me a shout, and I can try out some new material so it helps me. And obviously, the aim is to help them also.
awesome. Sounds really great and like a really generous offer from you.
No, yeah, not. I know you've got 1 million followers, not more than 10,000 people. Now, one or two would really help me out. Really help me out.
All right, one or two. The first, let's make this a bit more interesting. The first two that apply, quoting the Red Couch talk,
Oh,
they
not
will
bad,
get
not
in.
bad, not bad. I like it.
They
Okay,
will get
okay,
in.
that's fun.
Huh?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
good. It's good.
Okay. And maybe I throw in a free coaching session as well.
My word, my word.
Yeah,
Here we go. Here we go. And a holiday for two in Ibiza.
I
Stop.
know.
Stop now.
No,
Stop
no,
now.
no holiday. So let's reconvene soon. I think we're going to meet in Lucerne. And I look forward to seeing who won the little challenge.
No, exactly. We could name the winners. Name the winners later on.
Yeah,
Sounds good.
yeah. Okay. It was great talking to you, Matthew, as usual.
All right. Good to see you. Take care.
And all the best for Charing Cross.
All we need is a few laughs.
I'm sure you're going to have a lot. Have a great day. Bye.